There is a unique kind of weight that settles in after a conversation is over. It is the weight of the words you did not say, the opinion you swallowed, the boundary you did not defend. You tell yourself you were keeping the peace, you were being agreeable. But what if the price of that peace is a war against your own soul? What if the cost of being agreeable is the most expensive price you will ever pay? The great psychologist Carl Jung taught that our unspoken truths do not simply disappear. They are exiled to the shadow. And there, in the darkness, they do not die. They gather weight. They become heavy. The profound exhaustion you feel in your life is not just from your schedule. It is the monumental energetic cost of carrying everything you have refused to say. This is the beginning of a life-changing form of shadow work. It is the art of excavating the treasure you have buried within yourself. Today, we are going on a sacred excavation. We will explore the Jungian reason why hiding your truth is one of the most draining things a human can do. You will meet a woman who built a life on being silent, only to find her own soul was suffocating. And most importantly, you will be given 3 powerful journal prompts, like keys, to begin unlocking the wisdom and the energy that is trapped in your own silence. Your truth is not a burden to be hidden. It is a power source waiting to be reclaimed.
Your soul has a voice. It is not always loud. Often, it is a quiet, persistent hum beneath the noise of your daily life, a feeling in your gut, a flash of insight, a clear, simple knowing. This is your truth. And one of the most exhausting things a human being can do is to spend their life pretending not to hear it. Every time you silence this inner voice, you are not just avoiding a difficult conversation. You are performing a small act of violence against your own integrity. You are severing the connection between your inner world and your outer expression. Carl Jung called this state a split in the psyche. It is when our outer life, our persona, is no longer in alignment with our inner truth, our soul. And holding these two opposing forces apart requires an immense amount of psychic energy. Imagine holding 2 powerful magnets apart, their opposing poles desperate to either connect or repel. The strain in your arms, the constant tension, that is the exhaustion you feel every day. It is the energy leak of inauthenticity. This is a truth that is rarely spoken. Being nice and agreeable is often more tiring than running a marathon, because you are not just managing external tasks. You are managing an internal schism. Let's talk about Emily. Emily is a 42-year-old marketing manager. She is universally liked. Her colleagues describe her as diplomatic, a team player, someone who can smooth over any conflict. Her persona is that of the calm, capable peacemaker. During a team meeting, a new project plan is presented. Emily listens, and a familiar quiet hum begins in her gut. Her experience is telling her that the timeline is unrealistic and the budget is too small. Her truth is, this plan is flawed and will lead to burnout for the team. But as she opens her mouth to speak, another voice, the voice of her persona, cuts in. Don't be negative. Don't create problems. They will think you are not a team player. Just go along with it. So Emily closes her mouth. She smiles and nods along with everyone else. In that moment, she chooses peace over truth. She shoves her insight into the shadow. Later that week, her sister calls, complaining for the 3rd time about a minor issue with their parents. Emily loves her sister, but she is emotionally drained. Her inner voice says, I don't have the capacity for this right now. I need to protect my energy. But what she says out loud is, oh, of course, tell me all about it. She spends an hour absorbing her sister's anxiety,
feeling her own energy drain away like sand through her fingers. She has, once again, prioritized her sister's comfort over her own truth. At home, her partner suggests a vacation that she has no interest in. She dreams of a quiet cabin in the woods, but they are excited about a crowded beach resort. She feels the familiar tension. To state her own desire feels like an act of rejection. It feels selfish. So, she says, "That sounds fun, honey." Another piece of her truth is exiled to the shadow. Emily's life is a series of these small, silent betrayals. Individually, they seem harmless, insignificant even. But cumulatively, they are creating a profound energy crisis. She is chronically tired. She feels a strange sense of detachment, as if she is watching her own life from a distance. There is a persistent low-grade resentment that she can't quite name. She is not just hiding her opinions. She is hiding herself. The person who has valuable insights at work is hidden. The person who needs emotional space is hidden. The person who longs for a quiet cabin in the woods is hidden. Her shadow is now a crowded, heavy place filled with all the vibrant, true parts of her that she has deemed too inconvenient, too difficult, or too selfish to express. And the weight of carrying this hidden self is crushing her. The exhaustion Emily feels is not from her job. It is from the constant 24/7 labor of suppression. This is the hidden price of silence. It is not peace. It is a slow suffocation. The parts of you that you silence do not go away. They simply lose their light. They become a heavy, dense mass inside you, draining your vitality. Your unspoken truth becomes your heaviest burden. The first step in this shadow work, this sacred excavation, is to simply acknowledge the weight. To admit to yourself that the peace you have been keeping is a false peace. It is the silence of a battlefield after one side has completely surrendered without a fight. And that side was you. But the beautiful, hopeful truth is, that which has been buried can be found. That which has been silenced can learn to speak again. The first step is to simply dare to look at the cost of your silence.
To look upon the cost of your silence is a painful but necessary awakening. It is the moment you realize that the cage you are in was not built by others. It was built by the bricks of your own unspoken truths. The natural impulse, then, is to feel shame, to blame yourself for not being more courageous, more authentic. But this is a crucial juncture. Self-blame is simply another form of silence. It keeps you trapped in the same cycle. The path to freedom lies in a different direction. It lies not in judgment, but in curiosity. The central question of this kind of shadow work is not, why wasn't I better? It is, what wisdom is hidden in the part of me I was afraid to show? Carl Jung believed that the shadow is not just a repository for our flaws, it is also the container for our undeveloped potential, our raw creativity, and our most powerful, untamed gold. Every truth you have suppressed, every insight you have swallowed, has not disappeared. It has simply been stored in the shadow. And like coal under pressure, over time, it has been compressed into something far more potent. It has been compressed into wisdom. Your shadow, therefore, holds the very intelligence you need to navigate your life with more authenticity and power. To unlock this wisdom is to unlock your own personal oracle. The exhaustion you feel is a sign that this inner oracle is desperate to be consulted. So how do we begin this excavation? How do we access the wisdom in our silence? We must first understand why we chose silence in the first place. Silence, for many of us, especially women, is a survival strategy. We learn it early. We learn that our truth might make someone uncomfortable. We learn that our insight might challenge the status quo. We learn that our desire might be seen as an inconvenience. So we choose silence not because we are weak, but because we are strategic. We are trying to maintain connection, to preserve harmony, to ensure our own safety in the complex web of human relationships. Your silence was once a shield. The problem is, you have been carrying the shield for so long, you have forgotten it is not a part of your body. You have mistaken your armor for your own skin. Let's go back to Emily. When she begins this shadow work, she doesn't start by trying to speak up in meetings. That step is too big, too terrifying. She starts by getting curious about her shield. She begins a journal, not to vent her frustrations, but to conduct an archaeological dig of her own psyche. She reflects on the meeting where she stayed silent. She asks herself a gentle, non-judgmental question. What was I afraid would happen if I had spoken my truth about the project plan? The answer comes quickly. I was afraid my boss would see me as negative. I was afraid my team would be annoyed with me for creating more work. I was afraid of the conflict. This is the first layer, the fear, which shadow work invites us to go deeper. She asks the next question, and what is the wisdom my silenced voice was trying to offer? She lets herself write it out. The wisdom was that a rushed project with an inadequate budget is a recipe for stress and poor results. The wisdom was in protecting the team's well-being and the quality of our work. The wisdom was not negative, it was protective. This is a revelation for Emily. For the first time, she separates the fear of speaking from the value of what she had to say. She realizes that her silence was not just a lack of courage, it was the suppression of a genuine, valuable insight. She had buried a piece of gold because she was afraid it would look like a rock. She does the same for the conversation with her sister. The fear. If I tell her I'm too tired to talk, she will think I don't care. She will be hurt. The hidden wisdom? The wisdom is that true compassion includes myself. The wisdom is that I cannot pour from an empty cup. The wisdom is in honoring my own energetic limits so that when I do listen, I can be fully present. This is the alchemy of this process. You are not just identifying your fears, you are reclaiming the value of your suppressed truth. You are realizing that the voice you have been silencing is not the voice of a troublemaker. It is the voice of your own inner guide, the wisest, most insightful, and most protective part of you. This understanding is the key that begins to turn the lock. It changes your inner narrative from, I should be more brave, to, my perspective has inherent value. It shifts the focus from the risk of speaking to the cost of not speaking. The cost is not just your own energy. The cost is the loss of your wisdom, your creativity, and your unique contribution to the world. When you consistently hide your truth, you are not just hurting yourself. You are robbing the world of the gifts that only you can offer. Your team is robbed of your protective insight. Your sister is robbed of an opportunity to learn about authentic, sustainable connection. Your partner is robbed of knowing who you truly are and what you truly desire. This is not to create more guilt. It is to illuminate the profound importance of your own voice. It is not a luxury. It is a necessity. And the beautiful truth is all the wisdom you need to begin using it is already inside you, waiting patiently in the rich, dark, fertile ground of your own shadow.
To know your truth has value is to stand at the entrance of a locked treasure room. You know there is gold inside, but you still need the key. The practice of finding your voice is not about suddenly becoming a confrontational person. It is a gentle internal process of building a bridge between your inner world and your outer world. It is about making the unspoken spoken, first to yourself, and then, when you are ready, to others. The following are 3 shadow work journal prompts. I see them as 3 distinct keys, each designed to unlock a different aspect of your silenced wisdom. I invite you to work with the one that feels most relevant to you right now. The first key is what I call the unsent letter. This practice is for a specific situation where you felt silenced, a conversation, a meeting, an interaction that left you with that familiar, heavy feeling of unspoken words. Take your journal and write a letter to the person or people involved. But here is the crucial rule. You will never, ever send this letter. This is a private conversation between you and your shadow. Because you know it is safe, you can be radically honest. Write down everything you wished you had said, your raw opinions, your frustrations, your hurt, your brilliant, rejected ideas. Do not censor yourself. Do not worry about being polite. This is not about blame. It is about reclamation. You're reclaiming your own narrative. At the end of the letter, I want you to ask your own words a question. What was the most important, valuable truth I was trying to express here? Underline it. This is your piece of gold. By writing it down, you're bringing it out of the darkness of the shadow and into the light of your own conscious awareness. You're honoring its value, even if no one else ever hears it. The second key is mapping the fear. This prompt is for understanding the shield of your silence. Draw a line down the middle of a page. On the left side, at the top, write, "My unspoken truths." On the right side, write, "The feared consequence." And then you begin to map. On the left, list a truth you often hide. For example, "I need more help at home." On the right, list the immediate, gut-level fear of what would happen if you said it. "My partner will think I am nagging. They will get angry. It will start a fight." Keep going. Left side, "I disagree with the direction of this project." Right side, "My boss will think I am difficult. I might lose my job." Left side, "I don't want to go to that party." Right side, "My friends will think I am boring. They will stop inviting me." As you fill this page, you'll start to see a pattern. You're not just silencing random thoughts. You're silencing yourself to avoid a specific set of feared outcomes: conflict, disapproval, rejection, abandonment. This map doesn't magically make the fear go away, but it does something incredibly powerful. It makes the enemy visible. It externalizes the vague anxiety and turns it into concrete data. You're no longer fighting a ghost in the dark. You're looking at a strategic map of your own survival instincts. And from there, you can begin to ask a new question. Is this fear as powerful as I think it is? Is the cost of my silence now greater than the risk of speaking? The third key is the most gentle. It is called the wisdom I carry. This prompt is not about conflict or fear. It is a practice of pure self-appreciation. Your task is to finish this sentence over and over again for a full page. A piece of wisdom I carry is. The answers might start out generic, but stay with it. Let your shadow speak. A piece of wisdom I carry is that lemon and thyme taste good together. A piece of wisdom I carry is that my dog is always happy to see me. A piece of wisdom I carry is that I am actually very good at organizing complex data. A piece of wisdom I carry is that I can tell when someone is not being honest. This exercise is a gentle way of building a relationship with your own inner guide. You're creating an inventory of your own knowing. You are reminding yourself that you are not an empty vessel, but a library of unique experiences, insights, and truths. This practice builds a foundation of self-trust, and it is from this foundation of self-trust that the courage to speak eventually grows. Let's imagine Emily practicing these. She writes an unsent letter to her boss. It is filled with fury and frustration, But at the end, she underlines her piece of gold. My wisdom is in seeing the long-term consequences of short-term decisions. She feels a surge of self-respect. She maps her fear and realizes that almost all of her silence is designed to avoid being seen as difficult. This single insight is life-changing. She makes her list of wisdom, and on it she writes, "A piece of wisdom I carry is that I know how to make a project successful." Reading these words, something shifts in her. The next week, in a meeting, a new, flawed plan is presented. The old fear is there, but so is the new awareness of her own valuable wisdom. She does not make a grand, angry speech. She takes a breath and speaks from the calm, clear center of her truth. She says, "I have a concern about the timeline. My experience with a similar project last year showed that we need more time for quality control. May I offer an alternative suggestion?" And in that moment, she is free. Not because everyone agrees with her, but because she has honored herself. She has closed the gap between her inner world and her outer world. She has brought her own buried treasure into the light. And the energy that she used to spend suppressing that treasure is now available to her as calm, clear, authentic power.
Today we have stood at the edge of a great silent cavern within ourselves, and we have dared to listen to the echoes. We have learned that the exhaustion we feel is not just from a busy life, but from the immense weight of our own unspoken truths. Through the profound lens of Carl Jung, we have come to understand that every time we silence ourselves, we are exiling a piece of our own vital energy and wisdom into the shadow. This creates a painful split in the psyche, a war that consumes our life force. But we did not stay in that heavy place. We learned that this silence was once a shield, a survival strategy. And most importantly, we discovered that our shadow is not a graveyard for forgotten thoughts. It is a treasure room. It holds our compressed wisdom, our untamed gold, our most authentic knowing. And now you have 3 keys to begin this sacred excavation. 3 shadow work journal prompts to help you begin this inner dialogue. The unsent letter to reclaim your narrative and identify your hidden gold. Mapping the fear to make your survival strategies conscious and visible. And the wisdom I carry to build a foundation of deep, unwavering self-trust. Finding your voice is not an act of aggression. It is an act of integration. It is the holy work of making yourself whole again. It is the slow, courageous process of building a bridge between the magnificent world within you and the world outside. Each time you honor a small truth, each time you write down a hidden thought, you are taking one of the heavy stones from your own back and using it to build that bridge. You are reclaiming the energy you once used for suppression and transforming it into the power of authentic self-expression. But as you continue this work, as your own inner world becomes clearer and your voice becomes stronger, you may start to notice a painful discrepancy. You begin to feel more solid, more real on the inside. But in your relationships, in your family, in your work, do others see this emerging self? Or do you still feel invisible? What happens when you begin to speak your truth, but it feels like you are speaking into a void? What do you do when you show up as yourself, but feel completely unseen by the people who matter most? This feeling of invisibility is another profound message from the shadow. And learning to decode it is the next crucial step in reclaiming your power and your presence in your own life. That is the deep, essential work we will explore in our very next conversation. For this week, your invitation is to simply begin the excavation. Choose one of the 3 keys, the one that feels the most gentle, the most inviting.
Commit to using it just once. To make this commitment real, to bring it from the inner world into this shared space, I invite you to share in the comments below. You do not need to share the content of your truth. Just share the first step you are willing to take. Will you write the unsent letter? Will you begin mapping the fear? Or will you start your list of the wisdom I carry? By sharing your choice, you declare that your voice matters, first and foremost, to you. You are signaling to your soul that you are ready to listen. The excavation has begun.